Welcome to Cross Border Interviews. This is the show where we dive into the insights of municipal political leaders from across Canada. Now, our mission on this show is quite simple. It is to shine a light on the dedicated individuals who day in and day out work around that council table to shape the communities that we and they call home. And for this edition of the show, we bring you coverage from Victoria, BC, where last month the Union of BC Municipalities Convention brought together delegates from every corner of the province. Among those we spoke with was Campbell River Councillor Tanille Johnston. Across Canada, our cities, towns, villages, and rural communities are alive with stories waiting to be told. Stories of innovation and economic development, resilience in the face of the housing challenges, and the financial hurdles municipalities overcome every day. At the Cross Border Network, we bring these stories to life. From coast to coast to coast, we're connecting Canadians to the issues shaping our communities and showcasing the people working tirelessly to make them thrive. With your support, we can expand our reach, amplify more voices, and shine a light on the challenges and triumphs of municipal life. For as little as $3.99 a month, you can help us grow and continue sharing the stories that matter most. Join us today and be part of this important mission. Together, we can tell more stories, build stronger communities, and make a real difference. Support the Cross Border Network now. Visit www.crossborderinterviews.ca today.
Councillor, thank you so much for chatting with me. We are here at the UBCM convention in beautiful Victoria. You've never been on the show, so I've got to start with a simple question. Where's your sense of duty to serve your community come from, Tanille?
Oh, that's just a small one,
Just
hey?
a small opening question.
I started in politics many, many years ago, actually in student politics. I first entered the Native Student Union at the University of Victoria and have not looked back since. I moved home about 8 years ago and watched a by-election happen municipally and was like, okay,
I could do
this
that.
is interesting. And then I did a little bit of review the history of our community and what municipal leadership looked like, and noticed that there had also never been a First Nations person that was elected to city council, and I was like, that's not okay. That can't be true. And so I went for it. I talked to my family and was like, I think I want to do this. I want to make a go at municipal government. Let's see what it's like. Let's see if it's anything like student politics whatsoever. Yep. And made the first run in 2022 and was successfully elected. So I've been very, very grateful to serve with the city of Campbell River on my home traditional territory. Is just something special.
So I'm going to ask a very personal question. I apologize if I bungle it here for a second, but being First Nations, being a municipal leader, they don't often go hand in hand. You kind of seem like the unicorn in the community because you are the first. You are the first First Nations who are serving on council. Do you kind of feel like a trailblazer and hopefully opened up the door for more municipal leaders to be First Nations?
Maybe a little bit. So I have a cousin who did run municipally before I did, but he just wasn't successful at getting in there. So grateful for him for taking that first leap, definitely. I do like to think that if I'm in these spaces and places, that it will encourage other Indigenous people, other women to step up and pursue politics as a career. We know that we do not have the diversity around our governance tables that we need. And I think we need to be able to see ourselves in those positions.
And not just in BC, I should say,
across Canada, yeah, in everything. So I think we need to see people that we recognize, that we can relate to in those positions before we really think about ourselves in them. So I do hope that maybe there's someone out there that thinks they can do it too. And if they want to chat, I'm more than happy to chat with them. And I love supporting people to get into their political journeys.
Do you feel like a conduit between First Nations and the municipality to ensure that collaboration, that reconciliation does happen?
Sometimes, but I do think it depends on the political values around the table.
Agreed.
So those aren't always going to align. I also really work to not tokenize myself.
Really?
So
okay.
I do want to ensure.
I should be surprised by that. I apologize. I was like, oh my God, really?
Okay. I do really want to make sure that municipalities are reaching out in the right way to do that work themselves.
Yeah.
It is not my job to create those pathways for them, but it is my job to make sure that they're trying to establish those pathways and to aid along the way, but not be kind of the yellow brick road for them. Yeah.
I like how you say that as the day after the Wicked for Good trailer dropped. So thank you so much for that. As a gay man, much appreciated. I want to turn to why you are here at UBCM this week. We are talking about advocacy. We are talking about issues. What brings you, as the councillor for Campbell River, to Victoria on behalf of the people of Campbell River?
I would say a few things, and it is definitely a balance that I am mindful of while I'm here. As my role as a city councillor, the folks that voted for me, the voices that I represent is one role. And then I also am attached to the council as a whole and the resolutions that we bring forward. So council has brought forward resolutions that are supporting our resource industry. For council, they've been very verbal. We've been very verbal and outwardly in support of our logging industry, our aquaculture industry, primarily into speaking about fish farms. So there has been a big investment from council in those areas, being advocates in those areas, meeting with ministers about those jobs that are attached to those industries. So that is a big part of what we've been doing since we've been here. For me, I also come to really listen to what other municipalities are doing, connect with folks that are doing some good work in different areas that maybe we can aspire to, maybe we can borrow some of those skills. Also like to help. So my background is in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for the last over 8 years now. And so when I see municipalities that are wanting to get into that space and doing some good work, I love to connect with them and offer any insights that I have as to conversations that they could get into, or maybe pieces where they might have a little bit more power and influence within their municipal sphere or their electoral area, to take some steps in getting proper, good, solid primary care into their communities.
So before I ask the next question, I just have a little bit of a preamble, so I apologize. This is a conversation between the councillor and myself. This is not a motion of council, not a direction of council, not even a policy of council. This is the councillor's opinion and the opinion, her opinion alone. With that being said, councillor, in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge that you need to address for Campbell River while you're here in Victoria right now?
Oh man, that is a massive question.
It's the Sophie's Choice question of issues that you need to advocate for.
Yeah, so, and someone kind of triggered this question for me the other day about like what would our one biggest issue be if we could solve it while we're here, what would be the one thing? And honestly, this is gonna sound extremely repetitive, but it's housing. So housing is so many things, and a spectrum of housing is such a necessity. So arguably, in the example that I gave to my colleague yesterday, was even if we can get someone that's ready to go to detox and start their journey of sobriety, and we get them successfully into detox and they're doing well and they're wanting to stay committed to it, and then we get them into a treatment facility, and then they go on their treatment journey and they're still committed and they still want to come out of their treatment and follow sobriety or whatever that looks like for them. There's no house to put them in.
Yeah.
And if we don't have a house to put them in, then where are they going? And arguably, if we're going to support someone to go on that journey and to start that journey, but we're not going to give them a roof over their head, we're setting them up for some pretty dangerous opportunities once they're out. Because the chance of...
Can I ask the political question?
Yeah.
Do you feel like Campbell River's got a good grasp on it, or is there a way that, because I'm going to burst your bubble a little bit right here, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to get housing money on Friday.
I know.
David Eby's not going to stand on the stage and say, guess what, Campbell River, we're giving you a big giant check.
Yeah.
You won us over this week.
Yeah.
So what does the municipality do in the short term while we wait for the long-term solutions to roll out?
So last year we were super successful at meeting with ministers and getting awarded a tiny village. So we are part of the Heart and Hearth program, which was a huge win for us. That is an over $6 million investment in our community. So I view that as being a very, very big success. So we did get that. We got an expansion to that as well very recently. So we're actively putting that in place right now, which is phenomenal. And our advocacy has been here in the area of housing is for that second stage housing. So for the housing, that when the folks are going on their journey and they need a safe place to live where it's abstinence-based, which isn't everyone's journey either, and I'll fully acknowledge that, we need that.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have that, and they do end up back on the street or back into a housing situation where there's a lot of use around, they are at such potential risk for overdose. It's just heartbreaking. And those are the overdoses that people don't end up surviving.
Well, we talk about housing. We also talk about what the role of the municipality has to do with housing, and that is not building it unless you have a co-op, but actually the infrastructure that's underground, and that's money. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Is Campbell River set up for potential growth, to see potential affordable housing, to potentially see long-term care housing, to supportive housing in the community? Because you don't want to just build something and then go, oh, now we have to upgrade a $60 million water treatment facility plan.
Yeah.
Is the growth sustainable in Campbell River?
I think we have neglected our infrastructure year over year over year.
Not the first time I've heard that,
yes.
Not the last time, across Canada.
Yes, and so council struggled with that when it was decisions made in past terms before them, and now it's all coming to a head in one council's term. It's definitely a struggle. I would say some areas of town, absolutely, let's go. We're good to go. Other areas, maybe not so much, where we're going to need to be really mindful of that infrastructure and do those upgrades before we're cramming in a whole ton of density. So it's definitely layered throughout our city into what that looks like.
So I want to turn to my last segment, because I know you're heading off to your next minister meeting, and I don't want you to be late. UBCM. It is an organization with members across this beautiful province. What is the benefit, starting with yourself as a councillor, for being at an event like this? What is the biggest benefit that you can go home and say, residents of Campbell River, this is why I went to UBCM?
I think you can get results for your community through these meetings with the ministers, with the staff of the ministers as well. Our council got to meet earlier today with Premier Eby to have a very frank discussion about, what our community needs. And I think they listen. I do think they listen. If they weren't listening, we would not have been able to weasel our way into getting our tiny home village and be able to bring a whole ton of folks off the street and into a little space that they can call their own. So I think that is truly one of the biggest benefits, that, and then that same learning from other municipalities. And then as I get, more experienced and more grounded in the area, being able to offer what I know works or could work for another area. So
because if I've learned anything about municipalities, it's we don't borrow from the best, we steal outright from the best, and then we bring it into our own community. Speaking about community, what's the perks for Campbell River to be part of an organization like this? Because I can imagine there might be people who say, oh, that's politicians just going and partying and mingling as they say they'll do.
Yes.
Outside the advocacy work, outside the networking, does Campbell River see benefits of being part of UBCM?
I would say I do. I see benefits, but I am a natural collaborator, like nation builder type person. So at these opportunities where we do get to come together, I see a lot of value in that, in being in the same room as all these different minds. I think the more people coming together to talk about the really important topics, housing, healthcare, affordability, you're only going to benefit from that. For sure. So as long as you are using your time wisely, you're going to the workshops that are going to mean the most for your specific community, you're targeting those ministers that you really need to talk to, and you're just right on your points for what you need, I think there's huge benefit. But if you're not prepared and you're not coming with those and you're not very intentional about how you spend your time, I could see communities seeing that there's not as much value. But I definitely run out every minute while I'm here.
So my final question is, in your own words, what makes Campbell River such a great place to live, to work, and to raise a family?
Oh my goodness, I'm super biased, born and raised.
I was going to say, you better be able to answer this if you're super biased then.
I think it's the sense of community and the pride being from Campbell River. I'm of a generation that has kind of been self-proclaimed the boomerang generation, because my graduation class, we very much dispersed and left. We went on to higher education, we traveled, we did the things, and we're all right back home in Campbell River. It's a great place to raise kids. It's absolutely stunning from every angle. You can golf, you can ride a horse, you can go kayaking, you can go to Quadra Island, you can go to Cortez, all in the same day if you really want to, as long as it's not tourist season. Because BC ferries may not get you back from Cortez Island. So it's a risk you'll take. But it's absolutely stunning.
Tanille, Councillor, thank you so much for doing this. It's been an honest pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in for another edition of Cross Border Interviews. Now, we hope you've enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insights from the most recent Union of British Columbia Municipalities Convention in beautiful downtown Victoria, BC, and from today's guests. To stay in the loop with all the latest episodes, don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform, or if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button today. Now, for even more content and learn more about the people and the communities that we feature on this show and our sister shows, visit us online at crossbordernetwork.ca. Your support means the world to us. So share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Cross Border Interviews shortly. Till then, everyone.